All right, what's up, guys? This is Gaming History 101's Franken console buyer's guide, which shows you the Sega Genesis, the Sega CD, and the Sega 32X. This is part 3, showing the 32X hookup. We've already discussed the Genesis and the Sega CD. 32X, the biggest problem with this is knowing what you need to hook it up, and it's not very difficult, and there isn't much to it. There were some plates that came with it, which were supposed to shield the Genesis from certain things. I don't really buy into that, and I don't use them. The one thing you may want is this spacer plate, especially when using a Sega Genesis 2. It kind of helps it stay flush. Now, you're going to need a couple of things with this console, and the cables are the biggest thing that it usually doesn't come with. On the back here, it needs an AC power supply, which is the same as the Genesis 2, which is 10 volts at 850 milliamps. I have heard that a 9-volt power supply with 1 amp of power does work just fine. But if it has too little or too much power, it'll either burn hot or you'll see some weird wavy effects on the games. If you see that, discontinue immediately and get yourself a legitimate Sega Genesis 2 power supply. There are 2 parts. This one over here is the AV out, and this one's the AV in. Now, how you do this is you need 1 cable, which is hard to find, and make sure you buy your 32X with it. It's this. It is the Sega patch cable. It has the AV out hookups that look just like the Genesis 2 AV hookups, and it'll have 1 fat side. Now, what you will do is you'll take the part with the fat side, hook it into the AV in port, which is the middle one. The other side of this cable will go into the AV out of the Genesis. Then you just take your regular AV cable that you've got for your Sega Genesis and you plug that into the 32X's AV out. Once you've got all those hooked up, the last part is just putting the 32X into the top, as so, and it will just lock into place. And it should feel firm. Now, again, just like everything else, there are a couple of Sega 32X CD games. If you want to play those, make sure your 32X is fully hooked up and in the console, tested working. Then turn it on with no cartridge in the slot, and it will run the Sega CD. If you want to play a Genesis game, you are more than welcome to put Genesis games into the 32X, and it works fine. You can even use this CD backup and move the RAM together. But 32X games do look a little different. Unfortunately, another sports game, but it is part of the contest. Boom. NFL Quarterback Club, but this is what a 32X cartridge looks like. A little different from a Genesis cartridge, and will not run on a Genesis. So that concludes everything. That's what Franken console looks like. Go to gaminghistory101.com for contest info on how to get into the contest and win all those retro games, as well as a full write-up on technical specs and all this fun stuff on how to put together a Franken console. But I hope you appreciate this, especially when you're trying to get the rarer parts for this console and putting everything together. You can also hit me up on the contacts anytime if you have any questions. All right, guys, this is it. Have a good night.